You could be losing 40% of your brain's adaptability and not even know it. That's not a headline. It's a fact. Studies show that after the age of 60, the brain becomes less flexible, less able to shift gears, adjust, and respond quickly. You're still smart, still sharp, but the switch doesn't flip as fast. I'm not talking about memory loss. I'm talking about the ability to adapt. You walk into a room, forget why. Someone changes the plan last minute, and it throws you off. Or you read a new instruction and feel like your brain freezes for a second. That's cognitive rigidity, and it happens to more people than you think. But here's what gets me. This isn't always aging, and it's definitely not irreversible. In many cases, it's because your brain and your eyes aren't getting the one thing they need to stay responsive. That thing is lutein. Now, most people have heard of lutein. It's that word they slap on eye supplement bottles. But what they don't tell you is this. Lutein doesn't just go to the eyes. It goes to the brain, to the areas that control attention, processing speed, and flexibility. A study in 2020 found that seniors with more lutein in their bloodstream scored 46% better on mental switching tasks. Not on memory recall. Not on IQ tests. On how fast their brain could adapt. And get this, those seniors weren't taking pills. They were eating foods most people already have in their kitchen, but they were eating them at the right time, in the right form, and in the right combinations. That's what I'm going to show you today. I'm Dr. James Porter, and if this is your first time here, I'd be honored to have you subscribe. This channel is built for people like you, for those of us who want to stay sharp, clear, and independent long after 60. Now, back to the story. The real magic of lutein happens at night. When you sleep, your brain and eyes go into maintenance mode. They sweep out toxins, repair damaged cells, and recalibrate connections. And lutein is the fuel that helps that process happen smoothly. That's why some seniors who boost their lutein intake notice something different in the morning. Their mind feels lighter. Their eyes feel clearer. Their thoughts don't stumble. It's not a miracle. It's not a drug. It's nutrition working with your biology, not against it. And here's where it gets really practical. There are 3 foods rich in lutein that do this job better than any pill. And the first one is probably sitting in your fridge right now. Romaine lettuce. We'll talk about what makes it special right after this. When most people think of romaine lettuce, they think of salad, crisp, light, maybe even a bit boring. But what they don't realize is that this common leafy green has one of the highest lutein densities per calorie of any food on the planet. And that makes it a powerful tool for the aging brain and the aging eye. Let's start with the brain. Inside the human brain, especially in the frontal cortex, lutein tends to accumulate in areas responsible for executive function, attention, and adaptability. In simpler terms, it helps you think faster, stay focused, and shift gears without mental friction. A study published in the journal Nutritional Neuroscience in 2020 analyzed cognitive performance in adults over 65. They found that individuals with the highest serum lutein levels had significantly better scores on mental flexibility tasks. They could switch between tasks faster. They could adapt to new instructions more easily. And most importantly, they maintained that ability over time instead of seeing a gradual decline. Why does lutein do this? Because lutein is fat-soluble. It integrates into the membranes of neurons, especially in areas under constant metabolic demand. When neurons fire, they create oxidative stress. Lutein helps neutralize that stress, protecting cell structures and allowing smoother communication between brain cells. In the same way it protects the retina from light-induced damage, it shields your brain from inflammation and oxidative wear. That means fewer interruptions in thought, fewer gaps in focus, less hesitation when reacting to everyday events. Now let's talk about your vision. The retina, specifically the macula, is one of the most lutein-hungry tissues in the body. Lutein filters out blue light and ultraviolet radiation, protecting the sensitive photoreceptors at the center of your field of vision. But as we age, the macula thins. The protective pigment fades. That's when things get blurry, especially under low light. Here's the connection. When you eat romaine lettuce, your body absorbs the lutein and sends it to both the brain and the eye. Over time, with regular intake, that lutein restores the macular pigment layer and enhances the brain's ability to process visual information quickly and accurately. In one clinical trial from 2017, published in Clinical Nutrition, seniors who increased their lutein-rich vegetable intake for 12 weeks showed improved visual acuity and contrast sensitivity, especially in dim lighting conditions. That's a big deal, because most seniors don't lose sight all at once. It fades where they need it most, in low light, small print, or late at night. I had one patient, Helen, age 72, who said this after 3 weeks of eating a small romaine salad before bed. I woke up and could finally read the numbers on my alarm clock again. It wasn't dramatic, but it felt like my eyes weren't struggling anymore. That's the power of quiet repair. But there's a trick here. Lutein is best absorbed when paired with a small amount of fat. So if you're tossing romaine into a bowl, drizzle a teaspoon of olive oil on top, or slice in a boiled egg. Even half an avocado can turn a bland salad into a neurological upgrade. The ideal timing? Evening. Just before your body shifts into rest and repair mode. This is when your brain and eyes pull the nutrients they've stored and begin their nightly reset. Giving them lutein at this time isn't just nutrition. It's strategy. And it's simple. You don't need a complicated recipe. A cup of chopped romaine, a few cherry tomatoes, a bit of healthy fat. That's enough to feed the systems that matter most, your sight and your mind. And the results are not overnight miracles. They are quiet wins that add up, day by day, night by night, until one morning, you realize that your thoughts feel quicker and your eyes more alive. That's romaine lettuce. Not just a salad base, but a brain and vision ally in disguise. Next, we'll look at another humble green that works gently through the night to reconnect the brain and the eyes, one tiny pod at a time. If romaine lettuce acts like a sharp reset switch for your brain and eyes, then peas are the quiet connectors behind the scenes. They don't make headlines, but their impact runs deep, especially at night, when your nervous system is rewiring and your eyes are still working in the dark. Peas are rich in two carotenoids that matter more than most people realize, lutein and zeaxanthin. These pigments are structurally similar, and they operate as a team. Together, they protect the retina and support neural pathways that carry visual information to the brain. But here's where it gets even more interesting. A study published in the Journal of Food Science and Nutrition in 2019 found that green peas contain one of the highest bioavailable forms of lutein among common vegetables. Not just total lutein, but the kind your body actually absorbs and uses. That matters, because if your body can't absorb it, it cannot protect your vision or support cognitive processing. What makes peas even more powerful is their gentle glycemic impact. Unlike starchy vegetables that spike blood sugar and trigger oxidative stress, peas release glucose slowly. This is important because unstable blood sugar is one of the hidden disruptors of brain-eye coordination. In a 2021 review from the Journal of Clinical Nutrition, researchers concluded that sudden changes in glucose levels can impair visual tracking, reduce contrast sensitivity, and slow cognitive reaction time even in older adults without diabetes. Peas, by stabilizing glucose, create a more reliable internal environment for both the brain and the retina. Now, let's go deeper into brain chemistry. Peas contain vitamin B1, also known as thiamine, which plays a key role in nerve signal transmission. Thiamine is like the oil in the engine. Without it, electrical signals slow down, coordination falters, and short-term processing suffers. While not the highest source, Peas offer a rare combination: thiamine, lutein, fiber, and plant-based protein, all working together to support steady, overnight restoration. But the story doesn't end there. Recent neuroscience research, published in Frontiers in Aging Neuroscience in 2022, highlighted the role of lutein in synchronizing cross-hemisphere communication. That means helping the left and right sides of the brain share visual data more effectively. This ability, often taken for granted, becomes harder with age, and when it weakens, you might notice that your balance feels off, your depth perception shrinks, or your reading speed slows. Peas, through their dense carotenoid profile and nervous system supporting nutrients, help keep those circuits connected, not by stimulating, but by feeding, by replenishing the cellular tools your brain and retina need to stay in sync. And all this happens best while you sleep. During deep sleep, the brain prioritizes sensory integration and memory consolidation. That includes how your eyes send signals and how your brain receives and organizes them. If the nutrients for that repair work are already present, like those from peas, then the process becomes smoother, more complete. The best part? You don't need a complicated recipe. A half cup of steamed or lightly sautéed peas in your evening meal is enough. They digest gently, they don't overwhelm your system, and they provide quiet fuel to the systems that work long after your eyes are closed. So if you want clearer mornings, not just visually, but mentally, peas are one of the simplest ways to get there. Next, we'll turn to a food that delivers a surprisingly sweet dose of protection to your central vision and a deeper calm to your overworked mind. Corn. There's something comforting about corn. Warm, familiar, easy to chew, easy to enjoy. But beneath that golden sweetness lies one of the most underrated sources of visual protection most seniors never think about. Corn is one of the richest natural sources of lutein and zeaxanthin combined. These two pigments are responsible for the yellow-orange filter that forms in the center of your retina, known as the macula. And when that pigment fades with age, visual sharpness goes with it. Here's what most people don't know. The retina does not simply capture light. It filters, concentrates, and transforms it into nerve signals the brain can interpret. And the macula is ground zero for that precision. When you look at a word, recognize a face, or try to see something in bright sunlight, you are using your macula. And if it is unprotected, the damage builds slowly, then all at once. A 2018 study in the journal Nutrients showed that individuals over 60 who had higher intake of lutein and zeaxanthin from food, not supplements, demonstrated significantly better contrast sensitivity, depth perception, and low light acuity. The key source in the study? Whole corn. But corn's benefits don't stop at the eyes. In parallel studies, neuroscientists began to notice that higher blood levels of lutein also correlated with improved performance on tasks related to visual memory and spatial awareness. Why? Because lutein is not just an eye nutrient. It embeds in the visual cortex the part of the brain that decodes what your eyes take in. When that part is inflamed or underfed, your reaction time slows, your tracking becomes uneven, you start misjudging distances. But with regular intake of lutein from foods like corn, those regions stay clearer, more responsive, more reliable. And then something else happens. Zeaxanthin, often paired with lutein in corn, has been shown to cross the blood-retinal barrier efficiently. This makes it uniquely effective in rebuilding macular pigment and reducing sensitivity to glare, especially in older adults. That's not just helpful. That's life-changing for someone who struggles with night driving, hallway lighting, or early morning screen use. I remember a man named Patrick. He was 76, still independent, and sharp as ever, except when it came to seeing clearly in the morning. He told me, "Doc, I don't know what changed, but I can finally shave without leaning into the mirror. My vision just settled." What had changed? 3 weeks of adding boiled sweet corn to his evening routine. That's the kind of change you don't read about in ads, but you feel it. Now, let's be clear. Not all corn is created equal. The most effective forms are whole corn kernels, steamed, roasted, or lightly boiled. Canned corn can work too, but rinse it well to reduce sodium. Avoid popcorn loaded with oil or butter substitutes. It may taste good, but it lacks the active carotenoids that make real corn so valuable. If you combine corn with a small amount of healthy fat, such as olive oil or real butter, you increase absorption. And when you eat it within a few hours of bedtime, your body uses the nutrients to support the macula and refresh the visual processing pathways in the brain during sleep. Think about that. A small cup of corn, something you can prepare in 5 minutes. And it could help your eyes see more clearly and your brain decode visual input more accurately while you sleep. That's not magic. That's biology, properly supported. And when you pair corn with peas and romaine lettuce over a few nights each week, you create a pattern of restoration that doesn't just protect, but rebuilds. In the next section, I'll give you a simple evening routine using these 3 foods. It's not complicated, but it works. Especially if you're ready to stop hoping for better mornings and start preparing for them. If you've made it this far, you already understand something most people overlook. Feeding your brain and eyes isn't about taking a pill or chasing the newest trend. It's about choosing the right foods at the right time, in a way your body actually understands. So how do you make all this practical? Here's a simple truth. What you eat at night has a different job than what you eat in the morning. Evening meals are about repair, not performance. Your brain doesn't need caffeine or fast-burning carbs. It needs nutrients that soothe, rebuild, and strengthen your sensory systems. And that's where this 3-part lutein plan comes in. Let's say you're putting together dinner tonight. Start with a base of romaine lettuce, fresh, chopped, and tossed with a little olive oil. This gives your body a strong hit of raw lutein, plus fiber to slow digestion and support overnight absorption. Next, warm up half a cup of peas, steamed or lightly sautéed. You can toss them into the salad or serve them as a small side. They bring lutein, zeaxanthin, vitamin B1, and plant-based protein that gently fuels nerve repair while you sleep. Finally, add a small portion of corn, either boiled or roasted. Sweet corn is best. It provides the perfect balance of lutein and zeaxanthin to feed the macula, while offering a comforting, low-stress carb that won't disrupt your sleep. That's it. 3 foods. 1 simple meal. No pills. No powders. No fancy prep. You can rotate them across the week to keep things fresh. One night, a romaine salad with peas and grilled chicken. Another night, roasted corn with sautéed greens. Or a warm corn and pea stir-fry over brown rice with a drizzle of olive oil. Whatever fits your life. The key is consistency. Not perfection, not strict rules, just repetition. The more often you give your body what it needs, the more it remembers how to heal. That's how clarity returns. That's how your vision gets sharper and your thinking becomes quicker, not through force, but through nourishment. Many of my patients notice subtle changes first. Reading at night feels easier. Faces feel more in focus. Mornings feel lighter. And more than anything, they feel confident that they're doing something real for their long-term independence. So tonight, don't overthink it. Pick one of the 3. Or combine all of them if you're feeling inspired. And as you eat, remind yourself, this is not just food. This is repair work. This is brain-eye insurance, 1 forkful at a time. In our final part, I'll wrap up everything we've covered and leave you with one message that matters most, because protecting your vision and mind isn't just possible. It's personal. At this stage in life, clarity, true clarity, is one of the most valuable things we can protect. Not just clear eyesight, not just clear thinking, but the ability to trust our senses, to read, react, remember, and feel confident moving through the day. What we've talked about here is not a miracle. It's not overnight transformation, but it is real science. applied in a simple way. And for many people, that's enough to shift how they age. We're not talking about extreme diets or expensive treatments. We're talking about 3 foods. 3 simple, affordable, familiar foods that carry the very pigment your eyes and your brain crave. Romaine lettuce, green peas, sweet corn. They're not exotic. They're not fancy. But when eaten consistently, especially in the evening, they support the systems that so many older adults quietly lose without even noticing. And that's why I'm here. Because no one should have to wake up wondering if their vision will fail them. No one should feel like their mind is slipping, or that they're no longer quick enough to keep up with life. You are not too late. You are not behind. You are simply in need of the right kind of nourishment at the right time. That's what lutein gives us. Not just protection, but renewal. A second wind for the eyes and the brain. So here's what I hope you take from all of this. Your food is not just fuel. It's instruction. It tells your body what to focus on, what to repair, and what to preserve. And when you choose the right foods consistently, calmly, and with intention, your body listens. Thank you for staying with me to the very end. It means a lot, truly. If this video gave you something useful, an idea, a plan, a moment of hope, I'd be grateful if you gave it a like, shared it with someone you care about, or left a comment below with your thoughts. Have you tried these foods? What changes have you noticed? Or what's holding you back? And if this is your first time here, I invite you to subscribe. Not for the sake of numbers, but because this is a place where we talk honestly about aging, healing, and what's still possible. There's more to come. More tools. More science. More stories. All designed for those of us who want to age with clarity, calm, and confidence. I'm Dr. James Porter, and I'll see you in the next one.